Punk rocker Henry Rollins once said, "There's a terrifying feeling you get when you realize you can't work a 9-to-5 job. You're not happy and there are no fireworks."
When you know you don't have it, it's kind of scary. Like, oh no, I'm not gonna have a straight life. Oh no, what am I gonna do?
It was like it was radioactive. Like I would take construction jobs and it was like I was being poisoned.
Yeah.
You know, it was like literally like I was getting radiation.
Yeah, you feel
from
like you're dying.
Yeah.
You're young and you're awake and you're like, I'm dying. This is killing me.
As someone who quit his job at USA Today twice, it is a terrifying feeling that I can relate to as well. But that creeping sense of dread that you won't have a straight life is becoming the new normal for Gen Z and millennials. We embrace the chaos like an old friend, and now the workplace is about to be forever changed by this disruptive trend. Last month, Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn, made a bold prediction that the traditional 9-to-5 job will be obsolete by 2034. For any other entrepreneur, we would hit the snooze button on a story like this. But when it's the guy who co-founded the internet's biggest job marketplace, yeah, you pay attention. Hoffman said, quote, "The gig economy revolution is coming, and it's bigger than you think. Within a decade, 50% of the US population will be freelancers. This next generation is done with the soul-sucking, mind-numbing, heart-wrenching work that a 9-to-5 job entails. They're done with the false promises of upward mobility and empty corporate mantra of work hard, play hard. And they're done with the grind hustle culture that the internet gurus say stupid crap like this."
Who do you love the most in the world?
My family.
Good. Who in your family? Pick one.
All of them.
Every day, like literally once a day, genuinely sit there for 5 minutes and pretend one of them got shot in the face.
Post-pandemic, we've gone from the Great Resignation to quiet quitting, and now, according to CNBC, we're about to see a Great Resignation 2.0, with 50% of people about to consider quitting their job by year's end. The paycheck is modern slavery, so it's not hard to see why. Just think about it. You're trading the prime of your life for a desk job. As the great Hunter S. Thompson once said, "How could you be a free-thinking human if you've risked nothing and gained nothing, all for the almighty dollar?" It's a truly meaningless existence, living to work and working to live. So, here's what you should know about the Great Resignation 2.0, scheduled to happen in 2025. And if this is you, here's how to get out of the rat race. This is Isaiah McCall from 99 Bitcoins, and this is why everyone is quitting the 9-to-5 work week. First, a quick word from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by DTX. DTX is like all other crypto exchanges, allowing you to trade hundreds and hundreds of cryptocurrencies. But the cool thing is, if you put $1 in, they will match it with 1000x leverage. Now, be careful, leverage isn't something you should play around with unless you're an experienced trader. But if this is you, definitely give it a check. More information in the description down below. I met this very successful artist recently in Miami, who after showing me that South Beach is pretty much like GTA 6, told me something interesting about New York City where I used to live. Quote, "Everyone is in a rat race and they don't even know it." It's not just NYC. Many cities are becoming this race to nothing. We're in a race for digits in our bank account, we're in a race to posture on Instagram and Facebook, and we're on a race to buy things on credit that we can't afford. In fact, as of today, Americans are in a record amount of credit card debt, tallying $1.4 trillion. They say money can't buy happiness, but poverty can't buy anything.
If you use your credit cards, you do not want to be rich.
Well, anytime you say something about debt, people send it to me. Look,
Right,
look what Cubans say.
Tweets, yeah.
Look at what Cubans say.
And vice versa.
Yeah, so cut up your credit cards. If you use a credit card, you don't want to be rich.
Yep.
So the average American is squeezed between a debt trap and a 9-to-5 trap. And even so, 9-to-5s feel more spiritually bankrupt to most young Americans than debt. A recent survey about this by Auditor PwC revealed that nearly half of employees worldwide feel as though their workload increased post-pandemic, while work satisfaction did not. Workers are also reported being nervous about how much they are being paid, with 43% ready to ask for a pay rise, but scared to get it. Worst of all, 62% of employees felt like the pace of their job had ramped up during the same period, especially as they had to adapt to new tech tools in their jobs and increase financial pressure. It makes sense why images like these have gone viral on social media. Oh, not that one. Even this person who worked on Black Panther only made $12.50 an hour. In the UK, That same PwC study found a similar story, that more workers have considered quitting their jobs following the pandemic. It doesn't matter that we're living in a time of high interest rates and living costs. People have become more aware of how they spend their time. It's like Confucius says, we have 2 lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have 1. There's also the rise of influencers who tell people that the meaninglessness of their 9-to-5s isn't worth risking their mental health and sanity. Today, 40% of young people use TikTok for Google searches and even more use Reddit. It makes sense why influencers have an effect on us. One popular influencer in this regard, Jordan Peterson, got famous for saying, life isn't a game, it's a series of games, some of which you're good at and some of which you're bad at. The kicker is, you get to choose the game. So many of us are unsatisfied in our 30s and 40s because we didn't have the guts to go back down the hill and start a new game. It's called sunk cost fallacy. We're too far up the hill and too afraid to climb back down. This is society lying to us. It's lying like a used car salesman. What makes someone like Joe Rogan, Shannon Sharp, or Alice Cooper, or yes, even that psycho Gary Vee successful, is that they weren't afraid to start over. Critics might say they were lucky, but I think it's because they had the gumption to take a chance and reinvent themselves. You either build your dreams or someone hires you to build theirs. And that leads us to the next trend, causing the Great Resignation 2.0. Gig work. Is it living up to the hype? Bloomberg ran a story recently that the gig economy isn't meeting the hype. Quote, another indication of the limits of the gig economy is that most earning money from it continue to get most of their income from traditional jobs. So, is there any truth to this? Or are they trying to force us back to 9-to-5s? Bloomberg is funded and ran by a billionaire sycophant after all. What the article fails to mention is that the failure of 9-to-5s is rooted in the failure of institutions like college to prepare us for the real world. Often, by the time you make it to your first job, you feel like you've been sold a bill of goods and thousands of dollars of debt. College has become outdated, and this is part and parcel of the death of the 9-to-5. College is becoming a 4-year party, and afterward, you're the one stuck cleaning up the mess. It's an admission ticket for the wage cage.
Why do you think college is a scam?
Half of this audience, if you get a job, will get a job that doesn't require a college degree. 41% of kids that enter college will not graduate. And the vast majority of kids, 60 to 70% that go to college, I believe study things that are completely worthless, meaningless, and don't enrich society at all. That is an institutional scam. And by the way, every other part of life is all about your own customization. But you come to college and they say you must go take these 3, 4, 5 classes that are very expensive, especially for you out-of-state students, to go further into debt, study things that don't matter, to find jobs that don't exist. That sounds like a scam.
The primary school system itself is based on the 1800s Prussian education system that was meant to make factory workers, not free-thinking people. You were lied to since the beginning. It's why modern life feels like Sisyphus pushing a boulder up a hill. We're sorry, but the elites who are running things, they put you in this situation.
I did some investigation into the derivation of the American public education system and found out that it was based on the Prussian model. And the Prussians produced a universal education system in the late 1800s because they were afraid they were losing military superiority, and they wanted to produce a cadre of mindless, obedient soldiers. That was expressly the purpose. And then that model was adopted by prototypical fascists in the US, again in the late 1800s, this is before Mussolini and all of that time. Corporate types mostly who wanted to produce cadres of obedient workers. And that's why the desks are in rows, and that's why there's factory bells, and that's why it's top-down leadership. What was really stunning about that wasn't only that that was the model, but it's worse than that, because the people who built the schools were consciously aiming at eradicating the will of the students who were part of the system because they wanted them to be obedient.
All your life, you were taught not to think critically. From your diapers, to your diploma, to your 9-to-5 job. It's why a study that was the first of its kind by a group called the Reboot Foundation found that 60% of Americans report they weren't taught how to think critically in school. College is supposed to create an environment where you should be asking your closest friends, what risks did you take today? And they ask you the same. It has fallen very, very far from that. Now to take this back to gig culture, we think Bloomberg is dead wrong. Jobs that break free from the cubicle slave chains are the ticket to more freedom, more autonomy, and a break from banality. Sure, they're not perfect and take time to work up to a living wage, but people who work for DoorDash, the post office, firefighting, hell, even the army report being happier and more fulfilled than their desk job. Besides, taking pride in our paychecks is a relatively new concept. In fact, 150 years ago, Abraham Lincoln pitied people who worked for a paycheck. Lincoln described wage labor as an unfortunate necessity only for the penniless beginner. He said, if any continue through life in the condition of the hired laborer, it is not the fault of the system, but because of either dependent nature, which prefers it, or improvidence, folly, or singular misfortune. The only thing Lincoln got wrong today is the fault is of our broken system. You have to ask yourself, is soundly suffering your job really worth it to you, especially if you have an exploitative boss or work culture?
I lost $1 billion. Now I only have $1 billion left.
No boss it's worth losing your mental health for. The New York Post also piled onto this trend, recently running an article making fun of Gen Z, saying that Gen Zers are boycotting hard 9-to-5 jobs for their mental health. Boo-hoo, we think we're gonna cry.
What, are you gonna cry? No? No, go ahead, cry. Let me see you. Let me see you cry.
Hey, New York Post. Screw you. I learned this lesson the hard way working on Wall Street in my early 20s. Some people are born to dedicate their first 60 years and prove to the corporation that they deserve to be on the partner track. They are proud of their sacrifices, their perpetual dark rings around their eyes, their divorces due to never seeing their families or taking a vacation, lugging a $350 Toomey bag and doing endless corporate presentations and being told you're not good enough every step of the way. Work is a habitual sacrifice. Wall Street people get paid a lot. They also die early. My word of advice, make the sacrifice that makes sense for you, for your life. How to quit with nothing lined up from experience. The second time I quit USA Today, I did it with nothing lined up. A few weeks later, I felt more lost and confused than ever before. This is why you should create a plan before chasing your heart, especially if you're risking your livelihood. The first step we recommend is to start investing. Today, not tomorrow, now. Even if you're a raging communist on the internet, learning about assets and commodities like stocks, crypto, gold, and real estate will teach you more about the system and how to make money than anything you learned in high school. You should also set up your own financial safety nets, things like a Roth IRA or 401k. It's what the cool kids call passive income. There's other options like investing online, writing an ebook, hiring someone on Fiverr to do work when you're not there, or striving towards setting up a small business. If you're only relying on your paycheck, you're already doomed. Another thing to consider is that with reliable online accreditation programs on the rise, four-year colleges are facing their greatest challenge yet: staying relevant. Many institutions like Google's certification program, Coding Academy, and Peterson Academy can help you get a job that doesn't require a college degree. Moreover, some of the top earning jobs don't even require a degree anymore. Jobs like real estate agent, firefighting, photography, and making content online will pay you a lot more than entry-level 9-to-5. I actually began content creating on Medium as a way to pay for my coffee. And after 5 years of earning nothing, I netted 6 figures, which, after taxes in New York City, still amounted to nothing. I did something for the fun of it, not to immediately make money and ride off in a Lambo. And lastly, we know there are those families who have to suck it up. They grab their bag lunch and they say, screw it, I gotta get through my shift, I gotta feed my family. There are also those who enjoy their corporate life. Their bosses treat them right, it's a small office, etc., etc. But there are some of you like me. A 9-to-5 feels like radiation to you. I actually had physical pain in my stomach. Maybe I should get that checked out. If this is you, grab the third rail. In times like these, I find that comedians give the best advice for this kind of situation.
Ignore everyone, make a few good friends, truly have honest conversations with yourself about when do you feel the most alive? Figure that out. When and how do you feel the most alive? Try to figure out a job or a career that can replicate that feeling.
Or just make that thing your hobby. Nothing wrong with that either. We'll leave you with this from the film Pig, in which Nicolas Cage warns his former employee that the rat race is a soul-sucking illusion. He's living a lie. I think we can all see ourselves in this scene, and that's why I think it's nice that the 9-to-5 trend is ending. But there's still a lot of work to be done to find our passions. The quote goes like this: why do you care about these people? They don't care about you. They don't even know you because you haven't shown them. You live your life for them, and they don't even see you. You don't even see yourself. Wow, that was depressing, but solidly inspirational too. Subscribe to watch more slightly less depressing vids here at 99 Bitcoins. Hey guys, we're trying to bring a lot more long-form, high-quality videos like this to the channel. So if you like these, please comment down below, let us know so we can keep these going and so my boss doesn't fire me. And if you want to check out more of the long-form, high-quality content we're trying to do, be sure to check out videos here, there. They're probably gonna pop up somewhere. So check those out. Have a good day.